Sal will be speaking about NHVR strategy and operations, and he'll be happy to take some questions at the conclusion of his presentation. Just a quick comment. There's been some obviously changes at the regulator, and some time ago I accused Sal in the South Australian Parliament House actually of not having teeth. I think we're slowly getting to a stage where we're starting to get worried about how big those teeth are actually going to be, Sal. So anyway, welcome, Sal.
Thank you, David. I'm conscious that I'm standing between you and a cold beer, and my deputy chair's already given me the hurry up, but can I just acknowledge Carol Taylor, Councillor Carol Taylor, Kevin, National President, my Deputy Chairman, Peter Garski, I think the local state member, Pat Weir, was here before, and all the state presidents. I'm really pleased to continue to get invitations to come and speak to you guys. I actually enjoy your conferences. Unfortunately, John Beard's not here, so I can't actually use him as some of the jokes, but we'll continue on. Look, I will try and move through what I want to say to you quickly, because I am going to hang around and I'll be here tomorrow. But the last time I spoke to most of you guys, I think, was in Torquay in Victoria, where we'd sort of started to indicate to you some of the things that we were doing. So I'm going to touch on some of that and let you know some of the other things that we're moving forward on. You'll recall last year that I'd mentioned that we'd delivered and released 2 strategic documents. One was our 10-year vision, and then we also looked at our 5-year strategies, which we released with Minister Chester. A lot of those activities that we'd highlighted in those documents are now starting to come through in a lot of the activities that we're starting to deliver. And those 2 strategic documents will continue to really set the agenda moving forward for us. They're really easy reads, and if you haven't had a chance to look at it, even at an association level, I would encourage you to do so, because it starts to give you a flavour of the direction that we're moving forward on, and a lot of the things that we're starting to deliver aligns to that particular outcome. We've also been doing a fair bit, and that slide sort of gives you a flavour of some of the deliverables over the last sort of 12 months, I'd say, in terms of both your agenda, your industry, but more importantly also from a permitting perspective. But it also looks at some of the things that we're going to continue to do. Moving forward for us, it's about stabilising that work program. It's just continuing to deliver on those activities. There's some very big agenda items for us, just implementing the amendments coming around chain of responsibility, which will come into effect from 1 July 2018, and understanding what they mean, continuing the safety agenda, finalising the permitting process, which I'm of the view is starting to deliver you some benefits. That ongoing discussion with local government, that ongoing discussion with state agencies, but while we're doing that, also starting to give you some wins along the way. So that national livestock welfare work that we delivered last week, I think, was some of the key stuff that we had done with Matt, and that just starts to deliver some of your immediate benefits. Just touching on the Road Manager portal really quickly, 96% of the industry who now lodges a permit through the regulator does it through the portal. 96% in 4 months. In any IT type related project, that is a huge level of take-up. That for me is a reflection that we've delivered something that you actually get benefit from. If you're not using it, if you're not on it, I suggest you should, because it does save you a hell of a lot of time. You can see from the stats up there in terms of our take-up, we're actually over 11,000 permits now. We've been able to reduce the timeframes that we deal with the permit by nearly 50%. And the system has not failed once. Pretty big achievement for an organisation that's, I won't use the word I was going to use, stuffed it up the first time. But, you know, the proof is in the pudding. We're now working on the next phase of that program, which is the Road Manager portal. That will give Mike's people a whole lot of capability. That will give state managers road managers a whole lot of capability. When you marry those two together, I'm hoping that bottom day time frame will start to get a lot quicker. I'm going to tell you that I still don't control the consenting process. That still sits with a state road agency, with a local government road manager. But the pre-approvals that we're putting in place, the national notices that we're putting in place, we should start to see some more improvement in those timeframes. So look, thank you for your patience. Thank you for those who are actually using the portal as I said, I know it is delivering you with significant benefit. I do want to acknowledge, while local government is in the room, the level of collaboration and cooperation we've had from local government. The one thing local government is very good at is once they understand what you're trying to do and you explain it, they come on board. If I could get some road managers at a state level to do that, we'd probably be ahead of the game a lot more, but we'll continue to work on that agenda. But we've also taken a lot of time in communicating to councils, to mayors, to engineers, the different types of activities that occur on the network. So November, I think it was, we had a demonstration day in Toowoomba. We had 70 odd mayors where we brought a whole lot of B doubles, A doubles, even the military. Now these guys actually contributed their own time to bring their trucks from Melbourne to Toowoomba to show local mayors what a B double or what an A double and how it handles on a road network. Carol, I think that was a very useful day for those mayors. You know, we're going to continue to do more of those. We're going to do one in Townsville later in the year. We've had a couple in New South Wales. But all of that activity is starting to just better educate and make people aware of the functions that we need to do in terms of delivering those productivity benefits. I'm still adamant that my goal to see a 50% reduction in the number of permits will be achieved. Ultimately, I'd like to see it down to nothing, and most of you guys operate under either a notice or as of right. You know, I'll see how I go. The other area I want to just touch on I mentioned our work around national permits. We've now established a dedicated national harmonisation team led by a young, bright engineer who's supported by 6 graduate engineers. They will continue to work on delivering those national notices. You'll recall last year we released a PBS truck and dog notice, an oversize over mass notice. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Queensland into the tent. We're still working with TMR on that particular one to encourage them to come on board. And we also, as part of that, released an SPV notice, which has had some take-up. New South Wales now has moved to a 3-year period permit for cranes, and Queensland is about to, or has already implemented a 3-year permit for cranes who adopt IAP. Those 3 permits have the potential to remove about 30,000 permits out of the system. We're now working on 4 new national notices, Class 2B double notice, a national road train notice, HML notice, and we are going to tackle the agricultural area as well. So we're working closely with a lot of the farming sectors, the national farmers, local government as well in that space to try and get a much better national agricultural notice and hopefully grant some of the stuff that we're seeing in WA might start to be made applicable across the board over here. We'll see how we go. In relation to road trains, you know, why have we picked that one? Look, 11% of total articulated vehicles are road trains, but they do about 22% of the task, so almost a quarter of the task is done by road trains. At the moment, if you look across the country, everyone defines a road train differently. South Australia, talking to Dave before, doesn't have a 36.5 metre B triple under a notice at the moment. New South Wales requires you to fit IAP, and in another part of the country, you need to have a medical certificate if you're running on a particular stretch of road, so it's all inconsistent. I generally don't know how you guys actually undertake your task with the amount of inconsistency that occurs. So that particular notice will hopefully deliver some benefits. I know that it'll have some huge benefits to this sector. We'll continue to work with Matt and the associated state presidents in terms of that engagement. It will be an evidence-based program of work. And what did I mean by that? We're going to do a whole lot of robust analysis as to what we believe is possible, and then we will ask the state road agencies and local government road agencies to convince or tell us why it's not probable to do that. So we're sort of changing the mechanisms around there. Your assistance in that will be useful. We released last week, and you'll recall in talk here, I mentioned that we were working on delivering guidelines for codes of practices. Those guidelines have now been released. They were jointly released with the Federal Minister. Those national guidelines will assist industry to develop codes of practices. Now, I was quite pleased not to be in the effluence discussion earlier before, but there's an opportunity there for the association, the farmers, and next year, Matt, maybe we can get national farmers to this conference, the meat handlers and all those that are involved in that particular supply chain to actually work on a code of practice, which will then actually start to articulate the activities that need to be done. As a sweetener, we have got $350,000 that we can contribute towards the development of industry codes of practices. Our website now has the criteria in relation to the way you can access that funding. Look, I'm actually keen to probably see some concerted effort in delivering one national master code, which probably covers the majority of the industry, and then having either schedules or sections that may relate to a particular aspect, depending what that may be. The last thing we want to do is have a whole raft of additional documentations that you guys need to get your head across. One of the things that you've been very clear in your messaging to me is that you want less bureaucracy, and let's streamline that. But look, those documents are out. I encourage you to have a look at those. I know Matt already is. Matt, I thank you for your contribution in the lead up to the development of those documents. I can share with this audience that they were very robust and colourful discussions, and industry made it clear about their views. Moving on, look, we touched a little bit around chain of responsibility earlier in some of the comments that Bill had made. Over the next period, we are really investing a whole lot of time and energy around this whole area. The provisions come into effect 1 July 2018. It's not that far away, but I do appreciate for an operator who's got a whole lot of things on his plate and his mind, it could be millennium years away. So we're looking at appropriate engagement and communication strategies across the sector. So everyone in the supply chain, we're not just targeting you guys. You guys actually understand a lot of your obligations. It's those within the complete supply chain that we want to do a lot more work on and with. There's an extensive consultation program being developed at the moment. Some of that has been communicated on our external newsletter, and we've got some of that information on our website. John Gilbert's sort of taken a bit of a lead in that space. We will be coming out and providing much more education material in that space. And I think I was supposed to go there, and that sort of slide sort of tells you what we're doing. We then want to continue to work across those other areas around our guidance material and investigation manual and the way we actually look at undertaking those investigations on the roadside. So a pretty big program of work in that space, and we'll just continue to liaise with you along the way in relation to that program of work. Oh, look, I was supposed to press a button. Okay, there you are, and it sort of gives you some of that timeline. As I said, July 18 is really not that far away. The last sort of thing that I want to touch on before closing is we've spent a little bit of time working with Matt on a new initiative, and I'm really pleased to announce today that in partnership with ALRTA, we will this year be sponsoring a Safety Innovation Award with ALRTA. I'm formally launching that today. There'll be $5,000 as the prize, jointly funded by both ourselves and the national body. We will award the successful recipient of that at the national conference in, I've forgotten where, August in Torquay. Oh, we're going back to Torquay, cool. For us, it's just our commitment to this particular sector of the industry. You guys have done some fantastic work. We are keen to continue to develop on that safety agenda. It's one way of us ensuring that we continue to achieve these safety outcomes that we're looking for, but we do that in a collaborative manner with the industry. Towards the end of the month, this month, early March, the criteria will be available on our website in terms of what you need to do to be considered for a final recipient for that $5,000 prize. We're quite excited about that. I'd like to thank Matt and the team in terms of that co-collaboration and look forward to seeing some innovative, programs or solutions put forward for the final judging in Torquay. In wrapping up, can I just say, David, yes, we are slowly getting some teeth. It's probably taken us a little while, but I think, and I'm hope that what you are starting to see as an industry, that we are listening, and where possible, we are providing you with tools and programs that actually start to deliver some of those benefits. Our programs of work will continue to focus on those. As an organisation, we are continuing to take on more services and more functions. For those of you in South Australia, you would be aware that we're currently in a transition program of transferring all the services done by DIPTI through to the regulator. By the end of this year, early next year, all heavy vehicle functions from a regulatory sense will be undertaken by my staff, by my officers in South Australia, so the rollout of a true national regulator. Those discussions continue across the board with other state agencies, but we need to do that in a planned, systematic approach. We will also continue to engage with the industry that we need to regulate. And that's not just those people that are in this room, that's everyone in that supply chain, because it's important that they understand the ramifications of their actions on everything else that goes on. I thank you for your support. I thank you for your ongoing commitment. My staff are hopefully starting to deliver the outcomes that you are seeking. And I look forward to seeing you all at some of the other state conferences and the national, the state one in Torquay. So thank you.